Welcome back to CHGO After Dark, powered by ComEd. We're always keeping the lights on here on CHGO Bears After Dark with our guys over at ComEd. Make sure you go to comed.com make sure you go to comed.com/clean for all your ComEd needs. And Corey, we have a surprise for you right out the gate. Joining the show.
Oh, shoot.
Former
big
teammate.
dog in the house.
What up, baby?
Former
Hey, good, my
teammate,
man. How you doing?
Corey Wootton, Spice Adams, and Anthony Adams, a.k.a. Double A, joining the show. Former defensive lineman for the Chicago Bears. Joining us here on CHGO Bears After Dark. Appreciate you jumping on short notice, Anthony. How you doing?
Man, I can't complain, man. I'm just a dad over here, man.
All right, give us the dirt on Corey because I need it. He's always giving me shit on the show, but I need the dirt on Corey.
Dirt? It really ain't too much dirt on Corey, man. Corey,
you know what he used to get me on? My neck. He always say that all the time. Like, yeah,
that's where all the dirt is, up under them rugs.
Yeah, because it's hard to wash sometimes in between there.
Oh man. So yeah, Spice, we'll just kick it around. Obviously there's a lot going on. Rookies just signed their deal today. Training camp's coming up in a few days. Yeah. The Hall of Fame ceremonies are just a couple weeks away, and that's something me and Corey have talked a lot about the last few weeks. You obviously getting to play with Devin Hester and Julius Peppers, and those times we've kind of been reminiscing, getting through the summer, talking about some of those glory games of years past, and certainly a lot of fun watching you guys run that Tampa 2 under Lovie Smith. So, I'll just start there, man. What was it like for you to play with two Hall of Famers, soon to be Hall of Famers officially, in Devin Hester and Julius Peppers?
Oh man, it was dope, man. It was a dope environment to be around, man. Playing with some all-time greats, man. You got Lance got to go. Peanuts probably gonna go. Now Peppers, now D Hess. Like, so it was like, in anywhere you wanted to play with a Hall of Famer at every position you could. So I mean, it was just dope thing to be around, man. And then the history in the defense of Chicago, man, just playing for them and playing for these fans. It wasn't nothing like it, man. So it was just a dope overall experience, like special teams and defense and like I was on kickoff return, but I stayed for punt return, I stayed for punt, I stayed for all those meetings just to see what Devin was gonna do next.
Spice, I'll jump in here, Woot, so I'm not the awkward guy that's on the show here, not saying anything. But first of all, I haven't seen Corey Wooten smile this much on the show in at least a year, and you showed up tonight, so that was fun. that was fun to see. I'll put you guys in the hot seat for a second here. You can only pick one linebacker that you played with. Who you taking?
I'm gonna say Lance Briggs, because I don't think he gets the respect that he deserves. Right? I think he was kind of overshadowed a little bit by Urlacher, because obviously he's one of the most famous Bears ever play. But Spice, wouldn't you agree? Lance Briggs, arguably one of the greatest linebackers ever play, man. I just don't think he gets enough respect for what he did.
For sure, man. I mean, he was consistent. He always was near the ball. I mean, he could intercept the pass and take it the distance. I mean, he did the same thing, Urlacher could do, except be tall. So, but I mean, I love playing with both, man. I love playing with Tina Isamoa. Like, he was a missile. I mean, we would just be playing over two, and he knew exactly where he was going. So it looked like a blitz when you watched it on film. You're just like, man, he see his key and he's gone. So, I was fortunate to play with some beasts, man. So, I appreciate playing with all those guys, man. But I would choose Lance too, man, because he always get overlooked. He gonna come up, he gonna pop you, and he gonna have 100+ tackles every season.
I mean,
he hit you with the
well, and he was so great at like jumping the snap of the ball. Like he'd come right over you guys on the line of scrimmage, right over you guys in the interior, and time that up perfectly and just knife through. Like the quarterback couldn't even get to his third step on the drop, and Briggs already had him planted in the turf.
Yeah, man. Imagine playing with that. Imagine it'd be times where if you kept the camera on us when we would call certain plays in the huddle, every play where Lance blitzed the A gap, me and him would look at each other like, this is the one. This is it. Like, you can tell the excitement when we get the huddle call. And then a lot of times they'll the tight end will leave, and then we got to change the call. And then you will see like us be disgusted, like, oh man, we almost called it, man.
Yeah.
Do you both look at 2010? Sorry, Greg. Do you both look at 2010? If Cutler doesn't get hurt, you guys are going to win it?
Man, I say this all the time, man. All the time, man. And what's crazy is the night before the game, I looked in the mirror. I said, don't you be the guy that gets old and say, man, we would have took it all if we would have. Like, and sure enough,
you sound like Rod saying that.
Yeah, man. Like, you know, that's how it be. Go to your heart blows and give me one more play.
Yeah,
well, I mean, yeah,
I thought we had it. I really thought we had it. Honestly, I thought everything was lining up right. We had that bye, then we play Seattle. We play lights out defensively. Crowd's rocking. We're coming back to Soldier Field against our rival. I'm in my rookie year. I'm playing with all these guys, and all of a sudden, you know, we're rocking in that game. Lack has that almost interception. We thought he was going to take it to the house, get tripped up by Aaron Rodgers, and then
that was my part, man.
That was you. Yeah, that was you.
I should have blocked Rodgers, man.
Yeah, man.
I mean, we go drill every day, man. We had a stunt up front, and by the time I got towards, like, I gave everything I had, and I'm just crawling to this point, so I'm like right at his feet, and then that's when he throw the interception. But if I was still on my feet, then I would have blocked him. But
so you heard it here first. You got to blame Spice for us not winning the Super Bowl.
I said blame me for not getting that block. I didn't say.
No, I'm just
So Spice, you know, back in the day, you know, we just had Henry Melton on here recently. So we've been talking a lot of defensive tackle stuff, especially the Bears are running the cover 2 here with Matt Eberflus now too. So it's a lot of the same philosophies that, you know, maybe fans that didn't watch you guys that we did now are starting to learn some of the principles behind that. I don't know how closely you're following the Bears here nowadays, but there's a lot of hype for Gervon Dexter. I don't know how much you got to watch him last year. Do you have any insights in terms of some of the different guys, whether it's Andrew Billings, you know, in there, you know, plugging things up, or Gervon Dexter, a young guy with a lot of hype and opportunity to do something special here?
Yeah, I like Billings, man. I like him a lot. You know, it's just that run stopper you need on first and second down. And I just saw Gervon at the I run this hill over in Northbrook. Well, I take my son to run this hill over in Northbrook, and he came out there to run it. So it was good to see that. So I'm excited, man. I'm excited, man. I really haven't been. I want to go when they get the pads on. You know what I mean? So then you could really see, you know, the grind. But you know, I like what our defense did later on in the season last year, and I'm looking forward to them to capitalize off that. I don't know who they're going to add in these next couple of weeks, because some things happen, you know, and people get released, and, you know, there's a carousel going around as far as free agent acquisitions. But I think we're good with what we have right now. We just got to build on it and just keep sharpening iron.
Slight turn in the conversation since you brought up your son, Spice. How old is he? And I'm curious, like, when did you guys start focusing on football? And when did you start lifting weights? I was watching Receiver, the show on Netflix, and Amon-Ra's dad had him like pounding weights. He's like 9 years old. I'm thinking to myself, I didn't know any 9-year-olds doing that back in the day, but that's what they did. And you know, he's in the NFL and he's a hell of a player.
Well, my son is 16. He's going into his junior year. And we started when he was 14. Same way I did. You know, I didn't start till I was 14. But up until that point, he was doing everything. Like, we had him swimming. He was doing fencing. We had him try hockey one time. That wasn't good. And then basketball, like he's been playing everything, man. And I told him, by the time he turns 14, I'll let it be his decision. And of course, he wanted to play. So he should have a big year this year. I took him to Ohio State, Nebraska, Penn State, and there was a super camp out in Detroit. He did well in all of them. So he's making a name for himself. And I'm looking forward to seeing him play this season.
It's crazy to see, because when I first got drafted, we would always go to your house for like D-line dinners a lot of times. So your son at the time was probably 2 years old, 2010. And seeing where he came now, and now seeing him with the jab Olay move. I saw the video you posted. I said, "Woo, he's got the quickness, that one-on-one matchup." So it's good to see him like that. He's quick, man. He's got some hands. He got some pass rush ability. He could play for Rob Marinelli. I'll tell you that.
What were we eating for D-line dinner? What was on the table?
We always get that Chinese spot, right? Like where we get the rice and all the different. Yep, Sukasa. We get that to go, and Spice had a little movie theater room, so we kick it there. You had pool table the whole bit, so we kick it there a couple times. But yeah, it was good times. The D-line dinner. The funniest was when we went to Sukasa in person. And you remember they hit Pep with that trick with the bottle? Bro, he got so
man.
You know when they do that fake squirt bottle and it pops out of you? And he was like, yo.
Hey, yo, man. What's with this nonsense, man?
Bro, he jumped so much. And he got pissed. He got pissed at the guy. But the D-line dinners used to be the best. And then we'd always play credit card roulette. And luckily, my rookie year, we went to a more expensive dinner, and it was me and Pep were the last two. And he's like, "I got this, Rook." And I saw the bill. I was like, "Thank God." But yeah, but playing with these guys, man, was so fun. Like I don't know if I ever told you this, man, but my rookie year, like when you're a rookie, coach is yelling at you. You're trying to transition. It's tough. And I remember like that you made every day, like you and Peanut and all those guys in the warm-up lines and in the meetings, just made it so much easier to get through, because you go through times where you're like, man, can I cut it here, man? All these guys are grown men. I'm trying to transition, and you get down on yourself. But I feel like every day you were just so funny, and you made it fun. Like you made it want to go to practice, go to the meeting room, and you just always laughing. And we always knew. We're like, man, this guy needs a show when he's done. He needs something, So, hey, if anyone's watching, some producers, television, get my man a show, all right?
Well, it does seem like the common denominator for championship teams here in Chicago, whether it be the White Sox in 05 and the personalities they had, or the Cubs in 2016, or the Blackhawks, obviously, even with the Bulls with Dennis Rodman, fun was a common denominator. And Anthony, your pregame routines were always, I mean, for me as a fan in the stands, watching everyone circle around you, you'd pull your shirt up, start slapping it. You'd have everybody cracking up. Like how important was that for you to try to keep the team loose? Obviously it seemed like a lot of it came naturally, but it also seemed like you were in a lot of ways the heartbeat of the team, being in the middle of those pregame hype huddles.
Well, being a part of Bears was like a breath of fresh air for me, because everybody there was like a big kid. You know what I mean? Like, you got Peanut Tillman, Tommy Harris, Adewale Agunleye, Alex Brown, Olin Cruz. Everybody. Like, it just seemed like, when they put me in the mix, it was just like, it was just natural. You know what I mean? Like all the jokes I played or whatever, everybody was like, nobody was like surprised by it, because they like, man, we do this all the time. So it was a cool thing to be a part of, man. And it was special. I just wish, we didn't get the credit that we deserved as a team, because of, we lost to Green Bay and couldn't go to the Super Bowl. So if we had won the Super Bowl in 2010, then I think we would probably, we would have been ranked a little higher and people would have been talking about us a little bit more, but we didn't win the big one. So
Well, I just speaking from my experience as a Bears fan now, I'm 38 years old. That generation, the Lovie Smith era, will always be what's near and dear to my heart. Seeing Devin Hester get in, who's a lot of players' favorite Bear of all time, mine included, Odunze included. You guys definitely get the credit you deserve from us, but maybe from a national standpoint, you probably deserved a little more recognition for just how great you guys were in so many different facets of the game. If you have a quick moment, we're going to take a quick break, but I have a couple more questions for you if you have time, Spice.
Yeah, let's get it.
All right, we'll be quick with this. Real quick, want to give a shout out once again to ComEd. These guys are here powering us up here on CHGO Bears After Dark. It's getting easier for businesses to switch to electric vehicles. That's something we can all get behind for the health of the planet and the well-being of all of us who share it.
That's right, Gregory. The electric grid is evolving to meet your cleaner energy needs, which is exactly what we need as we all move with confidence towards an electric tomorrow. Whether you have one delivery van or a whole fleet of shipping trucks, ComEd can help guide you to make the changes that make sense.
So what should business owners do?
They should go to ComEd.com/clean and they'll learn more about the resources, fleet rebates, and infrastructure incentives available to help businesses go electric. If you own a business, don't wait. Start making your plan today to switch to electric vehicles. Good for business, good for the planet, good for all of us. Go to ComEd.com/clean.
Did you say ComEd.com/clean?
You bet your sweet Spice Adams Bippy I did. Go now and see how going electric connects us to a better way of doing business and a better future for generations to come.
That's right. Real quick, want to give a shout out once again to True Fan Travel. You've got until July 31st to sign up for our trip. We're heading over to London, jolly old London. That's where Mark was for Wimbledon just a week or so ago, October 9th through the 15th, taking on the Jacksonville Jaguars. True Fan Travel. If you go to truefantravel.com, you can get flights to London, 4 to 5 star hotel accommodations. Already got the hotel locked in. We're going to have a welcome event at your favorite local London pub, a private boat cruise on the river, all-inclusive tailgate party close to the stadium right before the game, and most importantly, a ticket to the game is included. So if you become a diehard, you can get a discount on that event. We're also going to be taking a trip to Arizona. So if you go to truefantravel.com, you can see all the different information that you need for each of those. You have different options you can have. So you don't have to get the exact same package that other fans get with taking us over with truefantravel.com. We're really excited for the trips to London and Arizona this season. Okay, getting back to business here, Spice. I know a lot of fans are tuned in here tonight because Caleb Williams and Odunze signed their rookie deals. Some fans were getting a little nervous as we were getting closer to the first day of practice, which is Saturday, but I don't think overall there was ever really any nervousness within Hallis Hall. From what you've seen and this team evolving to get to this point, I guess we'll start with Caleb Williams because, for those of you tuning in, we'll get into the deal and the numbers and all that stuff here in a little bit when we let Anthony go. But I just want to know your impressions of Caleb Williams so far and what your expectations are for him as the quarterback of the Chicago Bears now.
I've met him. So on a personal level, he's very approachable. He doesn't seem like he's like standoffish or anything like that. Doesn't seem shy or nothing like that. So I think he'll be a great teammate. I'm excited to see what he can do on the field. But all he really has to do is the same thing he was doing at SC. You know what I mean? That's what got him here. So, I think they're going to give him the green light to do those things. But I think, as far as this preseason is concerned, he needs to go over all of his reads and like really dissect that film because, you're only really going to play a quarter or something like that, if that. So I think he really needs to be hard on himself if he isn't already. And, just improve, 1% every day.
Yes, sir.
Do you all think this defense has enough to be elite, not middle of the road?
Yes. Yep. They don't have any pressure on them. You know what I'm saying? The only pressure they have is to do the same or better than what they did last year. And I think you got a lot of hungry guys there. You got Sweat. So it's like everybody's going to try to, up their game because, he's going to get double teamed. You can't double team everybody. So somebody got to capitalize off of that. And who's going to be the guy? It could be Billings one day. It could be Javon the next. Like you don't know. Like, but somebody got to step up, and I think they will.
Well, yeah, I think that's my only concern is I feel really good about the secondary. I feel good about the linebacking core. I feel good about Sweat. But it's kind of like opposite him, who's the guy that's going to step up, right? Because it's really easy to double somebody. As we talked about Jervon Dexter, can he take the next step? Because watching his film, I think he's got all the strength. He's got the natural athleticism. But as a taller guy, he plays with very high pad level, and the get off has been suspect at times. He played in a two gap type scheme at Florida, and a lot of that was on his coaching there, right? They enforced some bad habits, but he was still productive, even playing high and not getting off the ball in the NFL against grown men. So hopefully Big E, who coached me in college, coached us at the Bears, like gets him going, right? On that Marinelli style, get off, the pad level. And I'm hoping that he could take the next step because in this defense, the three technique is the engine that runs it, right? Tommy Harris for years, Henry Melton when he came into his own, even back to the Warren Sapp days when Marinelli was over there. The three technique is the engine. So I think a lot of it will be depending on what Jervon Dexter can do. And then the draft pick they have, Austin Booker, can he step up and be a situational pass rusher, right? Or Dominique Robinson, he's going to take the next step this year. So I think my only concern is the defensive line because Sweat had such an impact, but you know how it goes. It's rush and cover, right? Mm-hmm. If the quarterback has all day, it's hard even if the secondary is talented.
Where'd you meet Caleb, Spice? We kind of blew past that. That was interesting.
We were at a restaurant, I think RPM. All the rookies were there. And I got a chance to, chop it up with them for a good, I think we talked to them for a good 30 minutes. It was Peanut Tillman, myself, Tommy Harris, Jerry Azuma, and I think Forte. So that was cool.
Did he have your bio down? Did you have to explain to him who you were, how you dominated?
No, you know what? Since he went to Oklahoma, him and Tommy had a relationship or whatever, and so I think Tommy probably told him about me a little bit. So.
Well, and come on now, Carmen. This dude is now a celebrity on a totally different level outside of football, because that's where I really wanted to finish with these Spice. We could talk football. I'd love to talk football, especially the glory days of the Lovie Smith era with you all night, and I do it with Corey, and it's a real honor and a treat for me as somebody that used to run around Bourbonnais chasing you guys down for autographs and hawking you guys and yelling at you guys from the sidelines. And now I get to talk to you guys on the air, and it's really cool. But dude, I mean, your football career ends and now you got 2 million followers on Instagram. People know you for all these skits that are just hilarious, man. I mean, you've always had the personality. Bears fans have always known it. And then the world got to see it. How did that come about? And like, what are some of your favorite things about being in that, stratosphere of, bringing the comedy relief to people?
It was, at first I didn't know like what to do or whatever. I just put some videos together. Then I talked with guys like Chris Harris and Earl Bennett. Those guys were heavy on Twitter and Instagram back then. And so I was getting advice from them, like, what should I do? Because I really wasn't on it. All I did was play football. Like, I didn't care nothing about the Twitter or Facebook or none of that stuff. And they was like, man, you built for it or whatever. So I took their advice, started shooting some videos, started showing it to them. And then they was like, yeah, man, you should put it up on YouTube and whatever. So I put it up there and, it was received well. And, I just kept getting better with the editing and all that. And then, one thing led to another. Some videos went viral, some memes went viral. And then, here we are, man. So, but that's the whole thing. I've just been having fun, man. Just being myself and, just putting my spin on things.
Did I hear that right? You do your own editing, or at least you did?
Yeah, Final Cut Pro. Final Cut Pro or iMovie.
Yeah,
dude,
I mean,
that's a pro right there. That's a legit pro. Most dudes in your spot, they're paying somebody to do it. You got your hands dirty. That's that respect.
Yeah.
That's
sometimes you waiting too long, man. I need to like right now. I need this turnaround like today. So
exactly. It's a good question for you. What's your favorite memory as a Bear? You think about it.
My favorite memory was going to the playoffs. I think we played Seattle, I'd never been to the playoffs. And this was going into, I think, my 7th or 8th year. So, I had spent 4 years with the Niners, no playoffs. We went 7-9, 2-14, 4-12, 7-9 again. We came here my 5th year. We went 7-9. So it was just like, man, like, God, oh. So the first time I went to the playoffs, man, I was happy, bro. Like I couldn't even contain myself, bro. I was happy.
Well, we gotta go ahead. No, you go ahead, dude. I'll shut up.
No, I remember that.
Rex, we need to go back to Bourbonnais, though, man. I mean, as much as players probably like, being out here in Lake Forest, but Bourbonnais people would be on their roof.
I'm glad you brought that up because I was going to talk to Woot about that later before when we made a little quick audible when you jumped on, and we really appreciated that because this has been a fun interview. But that is something I want to talk to Woot about. I know Hogue talked about it on Hogue and Johns, but you're absolutely right, man. Like they moved it to House Hall so they could have the amenities and make everything easier. But they lost something leaving Bourbonnais, not just for the fans.
Being uncomfortable, man. I love it. Man. You in them dorm rooms, man, and
mind your college kind of,
Yeah, man. I love it, man. I love it.
Bonding,
and I know we loved it.
Games at night,
I know when we loved it. We'd stick around Bourbonnais. We'd catch some of you guys at the bar and stuff. It was great. It was
only one.
Yeah.
Only go to one.
Exactly. The bar. Exactly. We had a lot of people in the chat. Michael Renault saying Carman Spice should do an MJ centric skit, which brings me to this $5 super chat from my guy Jonathan Otten, $5 super chat. He's saying, and I think he wants you to read this, Carm, because Spice, we do have a guy here, Mark Carman, that has his own impersonations. I know you do too, Spice, but Carm's looking at doing a little bit of a comedy career going forward one day if this sports thing doesn't work out.
I'm not sure about the comedy career, but certainly I am certain the Spice is hilarious and a man, undoubtedly a skilled talent with a veracity of a versatility that I can propagandize and appreciate. Certainly.
Was that supposed to be Michael Jordan?
Yeah, that's MJ. So Michael,
hold on. That sounds like the dude. That sounds like the dude from The Water Boy. The professor.
But you see, people are too keyed into how I sound and not the brilliance of the words. He used big words all the time and butchered the hell out of them, but it was him, so it was brilliant. And you had to understand Jordan, like brilliance, which I did. Thank you very much.
So, Spice, do you see anything, a future in a collab with you and Carm here? Does he have the chops, the talent to rise to your level?
For sure, man. We could do we could be before and after.
I'm in.
Oh man.
What you in? 165?
How much do I weigh?
Yeah, you about 165.
Yeah, I'm a great bit.
You know what I'm saying?
Close enough. Yeah.
Before and after, man. I like it.
There we go. There it is.
Oh,
perfect. So done and done.
Yeah, I mean,
the opportunity. I look forward to capitalizing.
Yes, the ever talented Mark Carman. I don't want to keep you too much longer, Spice, but I am a little more curious about some of the stuff, some of the skits. What is some of your favorite, like your gifts? Your little video clips are always shared sometimes. Across social media, Twitter, TikTok. All the way across. I mean, some of these skits never die. Cream E. Bigums. You see every time somebody airballs a shot, there's a gif of you taking airballs in the gym and the old man getting out of the car. And like for you, which one is your favorite to do or the one that you love to see the most?
I like me like behind the tree. Because the story, the story behind it was just so crazy, man. And it's just so random and it's just so me. So at that time we were taking family photos. And I had on like, you know, the regular cardigan with the jeans, and you know, we all taking pictures, like studious and everything. And so then I'm like, hold on, give me a second. Let me go run to the minivan. And my wife was like, for what? Like, what are you doing? I'm like, I gotta go get something real quick. So I go to the minivan knowing that this yellow suit is in there. The yellow suit is in the back. You know, I got all kind of like ninja stars and swords and all that. So I'm lifting up all this stuff. Then I see the yellow suit. And I'm like, oh man, I should put it. So I go into the minivan, and you can see the minivan shaking and everything. I'm in there changing. I put on the suit. I don't even think I had a shirt on up under it. So I leave out, and I walk back to where we were shooting the pictures at. My wife was like, oh my God. She's like, you know, we're paying for these pictures. These are professional pictures. So I'm like, all right, cool. Well, let's shoot then. So I'm like, hey, just shoot me. I'm behind this tree. I was behind like these flowers and all this stuff, whatever. And the photographer was just shooting away, just laughing. But little did I know that this meme would, you know, get me in Australia. Like I did a commercial in Australia about me being behind the tree. So it's just crazy how everything came together with it. And it's just a crazy story behind like that's all hilarious. My meetings and everything.
Yeah, that's hilarious. Definitely a classic story here. And you know, it just goes to show you some of the best stuff just comes naturally, you know, like you're not gonna, like, we've had some really funny moments on our show. I'm the resident jackass here on CHGO Sports, and last year, you know, we put a bag on my head after Kansas City beat the living shit out of us.
You put a bag on your head.
Right. No, that's what I said. I put a bag on my head. We called him Bag Man. I threatened to stab myself after the Kansas City Chiefs game because I was so upset about the Bears losing. So, and that just came naturally, you know, like it wasn't. And so it just goes to show you, like, the best humor, you know, can never be forced. And you, Spice, man, you're one of the funniest dudes out there. So
the game reactions, first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, those had me dying. But the Anita Baker one, that one, and What You Say Now, Chuck, those are my favorites. What You Say Now, Chuck?
So Spice
doing all of them, man. Spice, but you seen this in the locker room, man.
Yeah.
Well, can you work on like a Woot impersonation with this neck business, you know, and really, well, hey, you know,
hey, Woot always gonna break out that robot. I mean, at receptions, in the gym, like everywhere. You can always see that neck, and then this move here.
Bro, he used to. So at Hallis Hall towards the end, my last year, they had like a video image of us there, and my wife had took a picture next to it. And on the comment under him, he's like, "Look at that neck!"
Oh my God, that's hilarious. Well, Spice, Double A, as we called you back in the day. I know you got a lot of different nicknames now, man, but we appreciate you coming on. I know I was hawking your guy Eddie here. I kind of came across you guys at the Super Bowl, so I thought I'd follow up here before the Hall of Fame game. Certainly wanted to get your thoughts on playing with some of the greats. We certainly look forward to those guys getting inducted, but tonight was a lot of fun for all of us. So I appreciate you coming on and busting Woot's balls, because he's always giving me shit on this show. And I needed a little bit of dirt. Now I got a little bit. We did the draft party. He put me in a headlock from hell, about popped my head off with his goddamn biceps of his. He's always giving me shit about my lack of, I don't have Forte pythons. So I got to hear from this guy 24/7, man.
So Forte does
you gotta ask him first if he lifted. Like if he didn't lift for that day, then you gotta, you're gonna get put in the headlock, man. He gotta do something where he like feel like he's doing curls or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Speaking of curls, didn't Matt Forte do curls every day of the week?
Matt did a beach workout like
every day,
just nothing but curls and push-ups and pull-ups,
dips,
beach workout, man. Like him and Chester Taylor, just beach workouts like every day.
Well, before we let you loose, just overall team expectations for the Bears going into this year. I know you spoke a little bit about Caleb and different guys, but obviously fans certainly have high hopes, think that this team could be a fringe playoff team. Where's your mindset at on what this team can accomplish with a whole new offensive system and a rookie quarterback, but a ton of talent?
Man, I seem to always have a kiss of death, man. Every time I say something, they do the opposite, man. So I'm just gonna take it one game at a time, man. I don't even want to do this to myself, man, because I say, oh, we're gonna go 10-7, and then we be 7-10. Like, so I don't even want to do this, man. I'm just taking it one game at a time. This is
wise man.
This is a crazy conference that we got, man. NFC North is crazy. Like, who's gonna take it? Is it gonna be the Packers? Is it gonna be the Lions? I don't think it's gonna be the Vikings, but is it gonna be the Bears? Like, you don't know, man. Just gotta let it play out. Everybody got to stay healthy, and and hopefully Caleb's weapons still be making noise, and DJ Moore and Keenan Allen could just be that 1-2 punch that we didn't know that we needed.
Well, they got the new kickoff rule too, and Devin's getting in the Hall of Fame here in a couple weeks. How many touchdowns would Devin Hester have had with this kickoff rule they're putting in?
It wouldn't even matter. Hess gonna find a way, and Tobe gonna find a way for you to make the block for him. That's the thing with Devin. Like, if you miss your guy, go get the other one. The guy that you miss, that's gonna make him miss. So all you got to do is go and stand in front of somebody for 1 second. You ain't even got to put your hands on him. You can just do like this. Hess gonna do the rest. So that even rhyme, bro.
That was good right there. Man, that could have been a shirt back in his playing days, but I know his son's up and coming, so maybe that'll be the next Devin Hester, the next Hester in line.
They call him the ankle bullet.
Yeah, I bet. I see. He shares highlights, and it definitely seems like all you guys got some kids to come up. So makes us feel old, but also makes us feel proud of you guys, man. You're all grown up. So we appreciate you once again coming on. We'll cut you loose here, Spice. Thanks again for all your time and fun talking with you. Maybe we'll catch you down the road.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate you, bro.
Thanks, Spice. Appreciate you.
All right, that is Anthony Adams, aka Spice Adams. Dude was a lot of fun to talk with, a lot of fun to watch play, and so we really appreciate his time coming on here tonight. So yeah, man. I know Carm, you had mentioned you might have to go, so you're welcome to leave whenever you want. But it's totally up to you because we haven't talked about these. Well, no, I'm not. I mean, we still got to talk about the rookie deals, but I'm not trying to put you on the spot.
No, I can leave you all to it, but just before I go, Woot, just the smile, the Adams, as we say goodbye. What was your favorite thing about playing with Spice? What'd you learn from him?
Man, I think just he's such a great person, right? And obviously he's a funny guy, but just super talented. I don't think what people realize is I think ultimately his career was cut short by a calf injury that he had in 2011. He had an awesome 2010. He had a great training camp and then had a calf injury. And then we had Stephen Paya in there. But he was such an incredible athlete. I don't think people realize. I think some people really don't think he played football. But he was arguably one of the best nose tackles in that 2010 season. I saw him, before I got drafted, his years playing for the Bears. Could run sideline to sideline. That's something Rod Marinelli always said. Like, we need a nose tackle that could run sideline to sideline. And that's something he did. The effort, he brought it every day. His attitude, his energy was infectious. Like, and I really do think like rookie year was one of the hardest times of my life. I'm not even gonna lie. You're transitioning. You kind of go through self-doubt a little bit. And I think guys like him, guys like Peanut Tillman, guys like Israel Adonijah, those are guys that picked you up. And certain pros aren't always like the pros that I had that were down to earth guys that picked you up. They didn't bring you down. And I think that's something with Spice Adams and the rest of the guys. It's something that I will always cherish because that was a tough time my rookie year. And guys like that helped me get through, especially that training camp. I think that was the toughest training camp of my life.
I got one more, Braggs, and then I appreciate you allowing me to sit in on. That was awesome to have Spice on here, and it's always great to be with Woot and you too, Gregory. The undersized dudes, Woot. I mean, Anthony was undersized.
Yep.
Same thing with Aaron Donald. Like, this is like one of the greatest players in the history of the NFL on the defensive side of the ball, and yet he's not a huge dude. He's able to do it. How do you explain how they can leverage their quickness to be as effective as they were in? I mean, not the same dude there, but but a long career for Anthony.
Yeah, I mean, I think he really had that explosion and played with great pad level, and I think that's why he was able to get under people. And people always say, "Oh, the size." There's so many negatives to being taller, right? Jervon Dexter playing with high pad level, right? Sometimes the get off is not always there for taller guys, but I think like usually what you see is in the undersized defensive tackles, Kalijah Cansey, right? Aaron Donald, guys like Spice Adams, the guys that got off the football, play with great leverage, and pad levels have to battle, right? If you can get underneath a guy, if he's playing against somebody that's 6'3", 6'4", he's at 6 foot, 6'1", playing with better pad level, he gets inside. I mean, that's everything you need to know. So I think their technique is a lot better, and their strength and quickness is always there.
Well, and Henry Melton was on with us a few weeks ago talking about this very thing too, saying, hey, I was undersized, and I had to find a way to get nastier to be able to get through. You got to be a little crazy to play that position undersized. And, when you brought up Stephen Paya and Pisa Tino Isamoa at linebacker too, like just goes to show you. And we talked about it a few weeks ago when we were talking about your favorite teammates, and even last week when we were talking about your favorite games you played in, like the different rotations and the so many different players, you forget that we're actually really, really solid role players on this team. And at the time when you guys were, bringing different guys in, they did such a good job of identifying guys that had a good fit and made a big impact on this defense.
Mobi Okoye, right? A guy that was a top draft pick, right? One of the youngest guys ever drafted. Goes to Houston, comes from Houston, then gets cut by them, comes here, finds a great role. I think had 6 or 6.5 sacks one year, coming off the bench in rotation. So I think that's what Rod Marinelli did a great job of finding roles. Like a guy like Henry Melton comes in as a DN. Hey, I think he'd be a great fit at 3 technique. Moves from the 3 technique, a former running back. It's a nightmare matchup for guards. So Rod Marinelli, Lovie Smith, this coaching staff did such a great job of finding defensively, okay, where can somebody really excel? And think about a guy like DJ Moore that played lights out at slot, in the nickel position for so many years under Lovie. Had a bunch of picks. They were always really good at finding roles for people.
Okay. Everybody's mad at you, Carm. Everybody's mad at you. Explain this to this child here, pulling you off. Everybody's mad. Get in
let's
here.
Gotta get to bed, so I gotta go here. But what's the question?
Robbie's mad.
Robbie's
mad. Jonathan's mad. Skeeter's mad. Your boy Boogie's mad.
I love every single one of you to the end of the year. Yeah, I know. But
look at Robert Lee says, if you leave, you're not a real Caleb fan. Your boy Boogie says that, so
that's my guy. I'll see everybody tomorrow at noon. I love both of you. Woot, that was cool to be with you for real with one of your teammates.
Yeah.
That was a treat for me. And listen, Pritzker and Kevin sat down today. Things are moving where we need to go.
Yeah, we don't need to hear about his stadium talk. He can save that crap for tomorrow. I know everybody's like, hey, the headline of the show was to talk about the signings of these rookie quarterbacks, and
we're having too much fun.
Well, and just literally 3 minutes before the show, I had been working with Anthony and his people about bringing him on here in a couple weeks, and he was like, hey, let's do it right now. And sometimes that's how it goes when we're doing these shows. You don't question it, you roll with it. And, it was a lot of fun to talk to Double A there.
Pleasant surprise, man.
So, and at the end of the day, like, we can go over it here a little bit. I definitely wanted to hear Mark's thoughts on it. I also wanted to, get your thoughts on Mark's hat that he unveiled. He's, going to wear at training camp. He busted this out today. What are your thoughts on that, Corey?
He looks like one of those dads on vacation.
He looks like
my God! Like
if he didn't look like an idiot, if you couldn't look like a bigger idiot, he found a way right there. So let's just go over it here. There's a few different signings. Rome signed first, dropped by Tom Pelissero. over the afternoon, Bears agreed to terms with Rome Odunze, the number 9 overall pick, on a 4-year, $22.7 million fully guaranteed rookie deal with a 5th-year option. And then there was a picture the Bears shared, official, as he's signing the papers at Hallis Hall. We'll start with Rome. I don't know if you have any thoughts on him signing the rookie deal or any of that stuff. I mean, I think for me, some people that I talked to were saying like maybe Rome was waiting for the language on Caleb's contract to see if he could get certain incentives. There's a lot of stuff in these contracts that is beyond just the money. Do you have any insight that you could share with fans of stuff that, goes beyond just the money you get on your rookie deal that you guys were concerned with as players?
Yeah, I think the rookie deals are really hard to negotiate. That's why there was never a doubt for me that both of them are going to sign, because it's pretty much slotted. Like what you're going to get is what you're going to get. Like probably, like you said, a little bit of language here or there, or maybe some of the player performance bonuses and things like that. Maybe they were trying to fine tune, but there was never a doubt. Like, what they're going to get guaranteed is what they're going to get guaranteed. Now there might be some, like you said, the other language for hitting a certain amount of catches or something like that. Maybe they can negotiate that in, but there's very little wiggle room with total value of those contracts. So I thought there was never a doubt, but I think it's good to have them locked up, especially before training camp, because I think everybody wants them to sign and get everything going.
Yeah. So like essentially, because like you said, getting Caleb done as well, and that was Adam Schefter's tweet that he dropped. And one is done. Chicago's number 1 overall pick, Caleb Williams, is signing a 4-year, fully guaranteed contract worth $39 million that includes a $25.5 million signing bonus and a fifth year team option as well. So both rookies signed on the day that rookies report to Hallis Hall for training camp. The rest of the team has to report by Friday. First practice is Saturday. And as I mentioned on a show last week, on our afternoon show, some of the intel that I was getting on what could have been the reason it took as long as it did, because these guys were 2 of like 5 or 6 first-round picks that hadn't signed yet. And people that really understand, how this process works from, the other side of things. You understood it from the player side. Now I was getting it from the other side, in terms of representation. And, a lot of it sometimes can be the full signing bonus coming in one lump sum, no deferrals, and there was speculation that maybe that's the reason that the JJ McCarthy deal is still held up, because he's still not signed, last quarterback to not be signed to a rookie deal yet. Offset language, another thing that can be a reason that holds things up, and if you don't understand what that means, if a guy were to get cut, would his earnings from the new team offset what he's owed from this contract, or could he double dip from both teams? That's a battle every year in the top 10 with every top 10 player. So, at the end of the day, and he was right when I talked to him, he's like, they're going to get it figured out. Not a big deal. So, ultimately it seems like those are some of the hurdles you have to overcome. But I will say this, and I said this on Twitter, Corey, and I want to ask you, because I have actually been a little surprised how quiet this offseason has been for Caleb Williams. I don't see him on Colin Cowherd. I don't see him on all these different, interviews. I know Jalen Johnson was running around doing the rounds with some of the bigger outlets. And, I don't see him, at OTAs or mini camp trying to overassert himself or talk too brashly at the podium. I don't see him in any, commercials yet. He was in like 3 commercials last year as a college player, and a Heisman Trophy winner. When he was at Wrigley, he didn't throw out the first pitch or sing the 7th inning stretch. He just went to the suite with some of his teammates and hung out and tried to keep it low key. When he went to the White Sox game, he let Rome Odunze, I don't know if he but Rome Odunze threw out the first pitch. He didn't. He sat there and cheered him on. So like, it almost seems like he's really made a point to not put himself in front of the pack and be a good teammate, keep things, on the low. And I honestly have kind of been surprised, because this dude came in as one of the biggest superstars we've ever drafted, number 1 pick, former Heisman Trophy winner. And I know Cole Kmet said to us once, when he went to dinner with him, a lot of the preconceived notions he got from what he had heard about him, they weren't true. And he admitted he even felt bad that he even thought some of those things about him, because once he met him in person, wasn't like that at all from what he had heard. Anthony Adams said he met him at a dinner. Great dude. Jalen Johnson did an interview. Same thing. He had things to say before he came to Dallas. Now he's talking about how he's a perfect fit. And Corey, you were definitely somebody that was like, hey, I want to roll with Justin. And there's a lot of people that were in that corner. And I want to do it this way. But like, what have you seen from Caleb now that he is the quarterback of the Bears? Has there been anything for you that has surprised you that he isn't maybe anything that you thought maybe he could have been, in a negative way?
I think his demeanor is definitely different than I thought from what we heard, right? From reports and whisperings of insiders and things like that. Like, everyone had kind of thought that he was potentially a locker room cancer. I think that was the whisperings that everyone had kind of heard around there. And I think it's the opposite. I think people really like him. I think he's been a good teammate thus far. And I'm excited for it, because that was my main concern. I've said that from the beginning. The talent is through the roof. What is he as in the locker room? How is he as a leader? And I've said that since day one. And it seems like he's doing all the right things. That's why I'm excited to see what he can do this season. Like, I'm rooting for him, honestly. I root for Justin Fields. I hope he does great wherever he is, the situation. But right now, the Bears are in the best situation they've ever been offensively. I think all the pieces to the puzzle are there. You have all the weapons. The offensive line continues to get better. And now you have your quarterback of the future, right? You have your generational talent, the best prospects since Andrew Luck. And I really do think everything is slated there. Now, it's all about his transition. How is he going to adapt, right? To, we went from OTAs to now training camp to maybe inter-squad scrimmages to the preseason games. Hopefully they'll get him some reps with the number one offense so they can get on the same page, because there is something about the chemistry, the camaraderie, and getting on the same page with the receivers and making sure, because ultimately you look at the best tandems in the league. You look at, like a Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes. They've been playing for a while, but they are on the same page. And I think from an early start, and when Tyreek Hill was there, they just seemed to know what each other were doing. And I think a lot of that is done through the offseason, the training camp, becoming friends with people, because the closer you are, the better you're going to be on the field. And 2010 and 2012, that's why our defenses were so good, because we were so close, on and off the field. And I think it all translates. So I'm really looking forward to this year. I think this is the most excited I've been. I think this is the most excited Bears fans have ever been. Everything's pointing up, and I know Double A, Spice Adams, whatever anyone calls them, is kind of hesitant, because it's always when you think the Bears are going to be great and you're like, oh, they let you down. But I really do think this is going to be a different year. The question is, how far can they go, and how quickly will Caleb adapt, and how the defense will really play? Because sometimes when you have these high expectations defensively, sometimes it's big shoes to fill. So I'm just hoping that they can start fast, get on the same page, because with a limited training camp, limited practices, limited preseason, usually you see the first couple weeks throughout the season, the best quarterbacks, right? Josh Allen last year, Patrick Mahomes struggled early on, right? We saw a couple games where the reigning league MVP Patrick Mahomes struggled. Like, the Jets made him look like a normal quarterback. I think it's just such a big transition now, because they're not getting the reps. And I think it's really hurting the first couple weeks of the season. They finally figured it out. But you see, like 10, 15 years ago, where quarterbacks started a lot quicker. And even Patrick Mahomes' first year, he threw 50 touchdowns like it was nothing. I think the first 3-4 weeks, he had like 28 touchdowns, like some ridiculous number, because I think he had the reps. And I'm just hoping they'll give Caleb reps this preseason, so that way he can hit the ground running, because I'm looking forward to this. I want to see him do well. I just want to see him be confident. That's my one thing for Shane Waldron and this offense, is get him confident. Because at the end of the day, the bar is so low for quarterback that all he has to do is go out there, make some completions, make some good throws, not turn over the ball early on. and I think he will really flourish because once he gets the confidence, all of a sudden, I think the sky's the limit, and that's the key because 80% of this game is up here. Everybody is talented. Everybody is talented. You can make an argument for this quarterback, that quarterback, this person. It's all up here. And I think the first couple weeks of the season are critical, especially for a young quarterback, a young player, for success.
Well, and we were talking about it too. And like, as much as I like the big prize game to start the season just to get hyped for, ESPN put out projections of like the odds of each game and what the Bears' best odds to win each game were. And their highest odds for any game of the season was the Titans. And that happens to be their week 1 opponent at like 72% chance. Now, all that, those stats are, they don't mean shit at the end of the day. When the ball gets kicked off week 1, it's going to be about who wants it more and who's more prepared. But, at the end of the day, they are favored for a reason because, they have a talented roster. It is at home. And if you just look at the matchups, the Bears should win this if they take care of business week 1. And to your point, then can get off to a good start where they have some confidence going into week 2 in a tough game against the Houston Texans. And so, it's going to be interesting. That's why there was a little bit of worry that they weren't going to get the rookie deal signed specifically for Caleb, because every rep is so important, especially when you guys were playing in training camp. I mean, did you guys still have 2-a-days when you guys were, you and AA were at camp? They don't do 2-a-days anymore. So you don't get the kind of reps that you used to get anymore. So, if he had to miss a few days, and there have been rookie quarterbacks that missed a few days, that would have, I think Sam Darnold was the last guy to miss like the first couple days of practice. That's not good. Roquan Smith, I know he missed like, 28 days or whatever it was. He's a middle linebacker. That's also not good, but it's even worse for a first-year offense and a first-year quarterback who has already been announced the starting quarterback. So, JJ McCarthy hasn't signed for the Vikings yet, but he's also not expected to be their starting quarterback week 1 for the Vikings. So there's a little bit of a different scenario going on there. So, it'll be interesting for sure to see how it all plays out.
Yeah. There's 2 things. There's 2 concerns offensively for me. And it's kind of like, where are these players going to fit, right? I look at Odunze, right? And very talented guy, but we have DJ Moore, right? We have Keenan Allen in the slot. Where's he kind of going to fit, right? Especially with Cole Kmet, with Gerald Everett, right? Where is he going to fit? That's what I'm wondering. He has the talent, but is there enough of the pie to go around to him? That's kind of more I'm wondering where he'll fit in there. Like, he's talented. Hopefully Shane Waldron will get everybody involved. But sometimes, like, you have so much talent, it's hard to get everybody an equal share of everything. So I just kind of wonder what his role will be and kind of how he'll fit in this offense. And another guy is Khalil Herbert. How is he going to fit in this offense?
Yep.
Do they make a trade with him? Because, I look at him and Swift as like, Khalil Herbert is kind of like that change of pace back. Roshan Johnson is obviously the bruiser, but where is Herbert going to fit, right? Are they going to keep him? I just don't know, kind of what his role is going to be. So,
and Gary's sitting here saying, Allen's going to be in the slot, DJ is the Z, and Rome will be the X. And I think, ultimately that could be exactly how it shakes out. I do like how interchangeable all 3 guys are. I think they can play inside and outside, which is going to test defenses. And Rome's ultimately got to earn it too here at camp. I'm sure he is going to be the X. You're not a top 10 wide receiver for no reason. You're not Daniel Jeremiah's favorite player in the draft and come in and not look like you know what you're doing. And everything we've heard so far, across the board, Adam Hogue included, who returns to CHGO Bears tomorrow afternoon. So make sure you stay tuned for his thoughts. I know he had a Hogan Johns episode here today, but he's been high on what he's seen from Rome at practice. I'm excited to personally see Rome at practice. And when you're that pedigree of talent, you can see guys that are different, right? We saw that with Alshon Jeffrey and Brandon Marshall. You saw that with Matt Forte. You saw that with Devin Hester. You saw that with a lot of players that you played with back in the day. So, I'm assuming we're going to see that with Caleb Williams and Rome Odunze that when Jay Cutler walked in, you're like, okay, this guy's a little different than what we've seen before at this position. Okay, Rome Odunze, this guy's a little different than some of these other guys we've seen at that position. So, but there's only one ball at the end of the day too. So that's going to take a hit to his development because he's not going to be depended on as much as well. So at the end of the day, these are good problems to have. And the Bears have never had this many good problems specifically on offense. Yeah. So all the way back to when you played, in the Trestman days, that was a high octane offense. And you could see it at camp that you guys were going to be a high octane offense. So, I know we're starting to run short on time here. I think there was a couple comments from the chat. I didn't get Craig Leach's super chat in while Double A was on. His super chat is Say It Woot for a $20 super chat. I think it was when Carm was doing his Jordan voice. So I apologize, Craig, for not getting it in, but
he sounded terrible. He sounded like the professor in The Water Boy. Boy, what's wrong with your medulla? Oh my God, that's what I'm like. Carm, that's supposed to be Michael Jordan.
He's doing this Jordan voice every day now, and this England voice, this London voice, and this English voice. I should say, people are gonna kill me for just saying what I just said, but regardless, he's doing these accents, and everyone hates them. I have to say, I'm partly to blame because I'm encouraging. I know how terrible they are. So I'm encouraging him to do them more because it's funny. But a lot of people don't find it funny, but I come from the school of like Conan O'Brien, and it's like, what's not funny is actually very funny. And Carm is not funny at all, which makes him even more funny, if that makes any sense. So, we had, there was somebody that did have, I was asking some mailbag questions the last couple of weeks. And Drew, the bearded dude from our Discord, if you become a diehard, you can get on our Discord channel and you can get your questions in to the show as well. He wants to know what your favorite golf courses are to play at or your favorite of all time. Do you have any?
Well, there's one back in my neck of the woods in New Jersey. It's a country club called Arcola. I played there the first time this past trip to Jersey. And it's dope. It's in Paramus, New Jersey. You got views of the New York City skyline. It's just greens are like 15 on a stimp meter. Are you familiar with that, Braggs?
Say that again.
You ain't no golfer. The greens are 15 on the stimp meter, which means they're really fast. That's the reading of the greens, like
okay.
The speed.
I'm all.
You're not a real golfer.
No, I play feel and touch. I don't need the reads. And when my buddies are like, hey, let me scope out the distance, I'll name the distance before they even scope it out because I got an eagle eye, Corey. I can see it. I don't need somebody to tell me.
I would love to see you play at that course and see what you score because that thing would eat you up, boy. The first hole, I hit a drive 325 down the middle. My approach shot stuck at 8 feet, and I 3-putted. That's how the greens are glass.
Yep. There's a few courses around me that it's like putting on ice for sure. Robert Lee says, that's like PGA level, what you're describing. And no, I'm not there yet. Right now, right where we're hitting right now, and I've been on the mend here now for 2 weeks after, banging up my knees. I am right now hitting the 1 year mark of playing my entire life. This is my first full year of playing golf here. And I started last year at this very time. To get ready for Cog Hill, and we do have the CHGO Cookout Classic coming up on Monday at St. Andrews Golf and Country Club. So I'm only a year into this. So, you can grill me all you want. Robert Lee adds in the chat, says, hey, Woot, I'm just under 6 and I 5.8 and I break 80 on a regular basis from the blue tees. So it's not all about brawn. If that was the case, I guess Koepka would win every tournament.
Yeah, no, I think the short game is where you win it. That's like for me, I can hit the ball far, but I think my irons, my wedges, and my putter is what does it for me. Like if I can get my tee shots better, like so right now I've been tracking my handicap. I'm a 7.2, so pretty good. Broke 80 for the second time Friday, and I'm trying to get down there lower. But I think tee shots for me is what does it. But I agree, accuracy is king. I mean, Colin Morikawa barely hits the ball 270, and he's winning tournaments because of his short game. And I think that's where it's won. Now, if you have a crazy long game like Bryson, you got the short game like him or Brooks when they're rocking. It makes golf a lot easier. If you're hitting the ball 330, 340, I mean, you're hitting a flip wedge pretty much every hole. Par fives, you get there in 2 every time. So if you can hit it straight and far, I think you definitely have an advantage.
I'm excited to show you where my game is at. The simulator stuff, I know, whatever. I'm not even going to go. Like, I want you to actually see my true game, but it might be a minute, so we'll see. But Steven can attest. Steven's gone out with me here, you know.
Steven's, you're always like, Steven, tell him.
Well, because I haven't played. I didn't play with Karma or Hogue this year, so they can't see the progress I've made. My friends will attest to me, but none of you guys are going to believe them because you think that they're in the bag for me.
What's your best score?
So, like I said, it depends on the course. So, like, It depends what level course you're playing at.
A nice course. What do you?
So, the nicest that I'm not going to say, like, because your definition of a nice course. So, the nicest course we have here is White Hawk, and I shot a 95 on it a couple months ago, and I was proud of that because it's a tough ass course.
How many mulligans?
With greens, like you said. Like I said, typically we'll have one mulligan for 18. So just leave me alone. Not breakfast a pro, a lot of or a breakfast ball. You can have the breakfast ball right out the gate or a mulligan at some point on your 18. And I always try. I am prideful. I don't like to take my mulligan. And then, but there's a couple courses. Lloyd McCutcheon owns a golf course out here in Maryville. He's from the area, and I shot an 83 on that course. And it's not some gimme course. It's got par fives, it's got par fours. It's not, if you went out on the course and you found out I shot an 83 on it, I promise you'd be impressed. But see, I say that and you make the face. So I don't even like telling you my good score.
Because I'm going to tell you, because I've seen your swing, and like driver wise, you hit the ball pretty straight. You don't hit it very far, but I've seen your short game. The touches is not there for. Maybe it's changed. Maybe
you see me at a simulator, dude. You've seen me at a simulator. That doesn't even count. So listen. Nobody needs to hear about this shit. I'm sick of the disrespect. One day I'm gonna show you. Ain't gonna be tomorrow, but at some point I am gonna show you. Everybody around me that plays with me that's actually my friend instead of you that's always giving me shit.
You got a lot of friends. I did shoot 80, right?
See, whatever. No, I ain't gonna listen to it. I ain't gonna get baited into this. Your boy Boogie was saying earlier, I'm gonna finish the show and then go watch the new 1920 Football Drive. The Bears just released a new 1920 Football Drive, which is kind of like their inside Hard Knocks. So I'm looking forward to watching that as well. Tomorrow, we've got a lot of fun stuff planned. Adam Hogue returns. You know, I know we'll probably get more into this rookie contract talk about what money is left for the Bears to spend potentially on another pass rusher. You know, maybe bring back Yannick Ngakoue or somebody else. You know, Carl Lawson might be available to bring into the Bears. So I'm sure we'll talk about all that stuff and more. I know tonight we were going to talk about that stuff, and then we ended up audibling. Thank you again to Spice Adams, AA, Anthony Adams, for coming on the show here today. It was a lot of fun. Chopping it up with him here, and you guys trade some old stories, and getting some good laughs out of it along the way. So other than that, please hit that like button on your way out. We appreciate every single one of you. Subscribe to the channel, and also, be on the lookout, because now going forward, next Tuesday, we're going to have practices that we can talk about and react to, once we hear the news drop on how some of these practices went. The week after that's going to be the Hall of Fame game week. And then once we get into August, we've got After Darks are going to become Hard Knocks post-game shows. For every Hard Knocks episode, we're going to do a post-game show immediately following the episodes and talk about what we saw. I know Adam Hogue talked about being on them, Mark Carman, Corey Wootton, Nick Moriano is going to pop in. We're all going to be talking about what we're seeing on HBO, so we're excited for that as well. So a lot of fun stuff planned. The season is officially here as far as we're concerned at CHGO Bears. We made it, Corey. It was a long off season. It's not easy, ladies and gentlemen, doing shows all the way through the summer, 6 shows a week. talking about the Bears, and now we finally get some tangible football to talk about coming up this weekend for some of the first practices. I know Corey's excited. I'm excited as well.
Exactly. It's going to be a fun year. I know Bears fans are looking forward to this. So tune into us all preseason, during the training camp. We're going to break it down during the season. We got some good stuff cooking. I'm going to be in the studios with the fellas. So we're going to be back. The boys will be back, and it's going to be a fun year. Bear down, baby.
Let's get it. Let's get it. All right. Tune in tomorrow at noon. We'll see you then. And always, bear down.
We all silly like the mayor.